Cheers. And now we have an unusual speaker of API Days because he's so prolific about content and blog posts and presentation and articles and ideas. And so he's Alan Glickenhouse. Alan Glickenhouse, are you able to join?
I am here.
Hello, Alan. See
Good
you.
to see you, Mehdi.
Good to see you too. And you have prepared for us for today a talk about platform and ecosystem, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I invite you to share your slides with us.
Okay. Let's get that up. Looks good?
Yeah, that's good. And the stage is yours for 20 minutes. Thank you, Alan.
All right. Thank you, Mehdi. So welcome to my session. I really enjoyed the previous session. I wanted to keep hearing him. I've actually spoken about similar things at times, but today's topic is what's next, digital ecosystems, marketplaces, and platforms. These are topics that I'm having a lot of conversations with businesses about. So whenever that happens, I like to write about it, and I like to put something together that kind of gathers all my thoughts. So that's what this content is all about. As Mehdi mentioned, I do a lot of speaking at API Days. I've spoken at dozens of them, I guess, over the years, as well as speaking with many different businesses. And when I'm not doing that, I write about it. And so the list of things that I've written about are at the bottom of the page. And this topic of ecosystems, marketplaces, and platforms are several of these items that I've written about, and they're in these categories. And at the end of the presentation, as with all my content, we will give you the links to everything that I've written. So with that, let me move into today's topic. So this is a little bit of looking forward, although many companies are already doing some of these things with ecosystems and so on. And so several years ago, myself and several others at IBM worked on this ridiculously simplified version of a maturity model that you're looking at on here, which goes into much more depth behind this one slide to talk about how we saw the API economy maturing over time. And at that time, most of the businesses that we were talking to were in the very early stages, the ones to the left of the top left screen, learning using an unstructured approach and so on, maybe the second stage, and a few gathering into the third stage in some areas. And what we're talking about today are things that I would say fit into the fourth stage of this maturity model that we wrote about many years ago, not knowing exactly what this was going to become, but this is where we saw the market heading. And can't wait to see what happens when we get to stage 5. But in any case, with this in mind, I want to talk about what it means to be expanding into full digital market solutions, which are this concept of ecosystems, marketplaces, and platforms. So let's talk about ecosystems first. We'll handle each one of these individually and then talk about how they relate to each other. There's two different scenarios here. One on the left is a car buyer who's shopping for a new car. They may go onto some websites and they search, for the different car models and options that they like, and then they purchase the car from some auto dealership, and then they get insurance from an insurance company and a loan to buy the car from a bank, and that's a scenario which could potentially be an ecosystem scenario. And on the right, we have a shopper. This is a perfect time of the year. We have the holiday season coming up, and they want to go into a retail store or buy it online or on their mobile app, and they want to buy a present for their child for the holidays. And every year there's the hottest toy that the kid must have, and so they want to get that toy for their child, and the retail store sells the toy to the consumer. So if we were here in person in Paris, which I would love to get back to one of these days, I would ask you for raising hands for which of these scenarios do you think requires an ecosystem? And I'm sure almost everybody would say the one on the left, the car buying scenario, requires an ecosystem because we have all those different businesses involved, the searching for the different car types and the purchasing from a particular automobile and the bank and the insurance and so on. So that one seems pretty obvious. There's clearly the potential for an ecosystem partnership kind of a scenario in that one. You might not think about the one on the right as having an ecosystem, but I would say that one does too. If you ever experience this hot toy situation, which, if you have children, you probably have experienced that. There's a whole issue of supply chain, big stories in the news nowadays about supply chain and how things are not moving so well. Inventory, sales, delivery, again, an issue with the time of year that we're in right now. All these things working together to get that toy to the child in time for the holiday, is another ecosystem that we want to put together. So no business is an island. Almost every business that I have yet to find a business that I've spoken to that we can't think of what I've been calling the business next door, the other businesses that you need to work with to make a successful situation for your customers. So thinking about that and thinking about this, ecosystem thought of where we are, where we've been, and where we're going, there's a set of steps that happen in forming this. In the past, we used to call this partnering, right? So I would partner with another business, and we would talk to the other business for some number of weeks, maybe months, where we would negotiate our business relationship and how we were going to work together. And at the end of that time, when we settled that, we would then have some technical work to do to integrate our systems with your systems so that you could, place orders or see the order status or whatever was the thing that you needed to do, and access the systems in our environment or us access yours in a secure, safe manner, and make sure that you could see only the things you're supposed to see and so on, and test it out. And again, that would take weeks or months. And then if I wanted to do this with another company, I would repeat the same thing over and over again, right? So I would have another set of weeks and months for the business side, another set of weeks and months for the technical side to get everybody on board. And that just keeps happening. And we just can't scale at this rate of weeks and months for every one of these things. I'm not getting a lot of partners. I can get a small number of partners, but I can't get a tremendous number of partners, which is where we're heading toward. So moving to today, we're still taking weeks or months to have these business relationships with the other companies to decide, how we're going to work together. But on the technical side, if I can think of the kind of business partners that I might have for supply side or sell side or whatever it may be, I can start to build up a set of APIs, which I pre-build and test and secure and so on, and get them ready so that now, once we have the business agreement in place, the access to the systems is very easy. I just give you access to my APIs through the developer portal, and you can self-service on board. So it makes it much easier for the second and third partners to come on board because I've already built the APIs for them, and we can get that. At least on my side, it's easy. On your side, it may still take a little bit of time, but hopefully not too much to consume our easy APIs that we've built. Now, moving into the future, we may change from days to a shorter amount of time. That may happen. It may not. Days is not a bad number. Hours would be better, but it might not happen. But the question is, how do I get this business scenario down to days? And how do I, not have to take weeks to have a business discussion on how we're going to work together, and then make that replicable across other partners that I want to bring on board to create this ecosystem in a much more rapid fashion. If I want to spread worldwide, if I want to get, a much more, larger ecosystem, I need to work on that as well. And so that's what we're going to get into on the next step with marketplaces. So what is an API marketplace? A marketplace in general is where people come together, buyers and sellers, to transact business, right? And so applying this to APIs, it's where we do that kind of consuming and providing of APIs between the different parties involved. And so that's what we want to create. A technical implementation of this is typically built around some kind of a API management developer portal. Now, some of the businesses that I speak to will talk about what they call an API marketplace, and you may or may not call it an API marketplace, but it's basically when their business is exposing APIs to other businesses. In other words, they're exposing APIs outside their company to a partner or to a public audience. In this model, they are the only provider. There's their company, and then there are many consumers. So that tends to, not be what most people think of as a marketplace, because in most marketplaces, there are many providers and many consumers, not just one provider. So you can debate whether or not this is a marketplace. They're calling it a marketplace. So I'm gonna let them do that. But most of the businesses that I talk to are thinking beyond the single provider kind of a scenario. So this is the more advanced kind of a marketplace scenario. Excuse me. So your business has customers, and so these customers may have a trust relationship with you, so that they believe that you're a good provider for them, and you do a certain thing. Maybe you're a bank or a retailer or whatever you may be, and you provide a particular solution for your customers. But there are other things that they need in their environment. Maybe they need to do shipments, and so you don't do shipments. It's not what your business does. But as someone who wants to put together an ecosystem for your customers, you can do vetting and onboarding of a company that does shipments and take their APIs and put it into your marketplace. And now when the consumers need shipping, you have done some work for them to vet and onboard a valid, reliable shipping company that they can use. And maybe it's not related only to shipments, but maybe other companies do payroll, another thing they can use, and whatever other API products that you think your customer set might benefit from. You're doing this vetting and onboarding that validates that they are in fact good providers and should be trusted by your customers, which saves them time. And then we get into the whole relationship of how the money flows between your customer and yourself and these others. And that's what the next slide is going to talk about. But the basic idea here, just to simplify the upfront piece, is that we have multiple providers that are providing different capabilities to multiple consumers. So here's the killer slide, right? So there's a lot of stuff on this slide, and I'm going to walk through, this is in the time I have here. You already, why should you be the API provider marketplace? In other words, I talk to a lot of businesses that say they want to be a marketplace. I have yet to talk to one that says they want to be in a marketplace and not have their own marketplace. So why should an API provider, not yourself, choose to be in your marketplace, right? And the answer is either that you already have a lot of consumers that are looking there, so they want to be in it, or there's some kind of a synergy offering like what I just described on the previous slide, where your solutions together provide a complete solution for the consumers that are looking for that, right? So you may have that as you get started, but then you build up the consumer base, and then maybe you'll get more consumers looking there. All right, money. So money is always the challenging discussion that we have in the business relationship side of things. And so the question is, how are we going to deal with money between yourself, the other providers, and the consumers? Now, you could do this for free in the sense that you're not charging the other providers anything, because that may get you more providers, and therefore you'll get more consumers, and therefore everybody's revenues will increase, and so that will drive more revenue for everybody. You could also do some kind of a direct monetization charge where you charge them based on some metric for how many people view their APIs or sign up for their APIs, or some kind of consumption model or something like that. Or you might have an indirect model where you base your percentage of the revenue on the revenue that they get from the marketplace, right? So all of these are possible ways that you can do it, but you can set up a monetization model which becomes replicable for all the people that are inside the marketplace. What are you doing for the people who are the other providers? You could do nothing. You could say, I'm just going to list your APIs, and then people can find them there. Or you might do something that provides security for them with rate limiting, some kind of onboarding capability, and then passing the execution forward to them. Maybe you provide analytics, you might provide billing. There's a number of other things that you can do to provide services for them, which could justify then again some money changing hands that they're going to pay you for those services that you do. And then the last and most important topic on this page is, are you verifying the API providers? Because basically this comes down to, what are you saying about the other APIs that are in your marketplace? And the one possibility is you're saying nothing about them, that you haven't vetted them, that there is no quality level that you're implying or provide saying that basically anybody in your marketplace could just put themselves there. Programmable web is like that, and I like programmable web. It's a great place to go to find APIs, but they're not saying anything about the quality of the APIs that are provided there. You can just go search it and find an API. It's up to you to decide whether or not that's a good API or not. On the other hand, you could be providing some verification of the level of quality that they're providing, the scalability, the reputation of the business involved, that you set forth, that then you're implying to your consumers that you've done the research for them, that this is intending to be a good provider for you, that we think that they would be a good choice for you in the area of payroll if you need payroll. So these are discussion points you need to have when you're thinking about creating a marketplace. How is this money going to flow? What work are you going to do to validate the providers and so on? If you want to have a successful marketplace, you should be answering these questions. And so I'll leave it at that, not tell you specifically that you have to do one thing or the other, because programmable web is a very good marketplace, but they're not doing a lot of validation. So it's not like you have to do that, but the more value you provide, the more likely your consumers will see value in that as well. All right, so let's get to the last topic that I wanted to talk about. How am I doing on time? We've got a few minutes, which is platforms. So this is another topic that I'm hearing a lot about. We in IBM, we have an API management platform, right? This is called API Connect. This is something that helps you build, manage, secure, socialize APIs. This is not the kind of platform that I'm here to talk to you about today, right? So a lot of vendors have API management platforms that help you, create these APIs. I'm talking about a platform in the sense of the second definition here, which is an organization that brings together multiple participants and allows for the creation of a business on top of the services that they provide. And so what you see here is the combination of a platform could be defined as a combination of a digital ecosystem and a marketplace. In other words, a group of businesses that together provide a good solution and a way to get that solution in an easy to form manner, right? So this is the most common approach that people start with in the area of digital platform, where you get this goal of the marketplace to solve a problem, and then you put all the APIs there, and then consumers come, and this is a fantastic destination. As I say on the bottom, if this is your desired destination, you'll make a good success out of this if you do it well. Another option, which some companies go toward, is a digital platform being greater than the sum of the parts of a digital ecosystem and marketplace. And you see companies doing this like eBay and the Amazon marketplace and things like that, where other businesses are in fact not even a physical business that exists outside of that context, where they are a tenant on an API layer that basically builds retail stores or other things using the services provided by the APIs and running on that platform. And this is, again, another kind of a goal that a digital platform might come. Of course, there are fewer of these, right? And so, again, this may be a goal that you want to get to, but a tougher goal to achieve, because a lot of businesses are not wanting to outsource everything to someone else to run it for them. All right, so does this actually exist? And the answer is yes. There are businesses that are doing this. I mean, I just mentioned eBay and Amazon as some of the ones that do the full thing, but even in other industries beyond retail, this is DBS, which is a financial services banking customer business in Singapore, and they've done multiple of these consumer-oriented marketplaces. And so this one is about buying a home. And so they've identified different kinds of home buyers and what the steps and things that they do are in buying a home, from researching, with places to live, to, finding the home, to getting a mortgage, to getting insurance, to doing the moving, setting up your utilities, all the things that you need to do to make a home move from one location to another. They've put all this together into an ecosystem and marketplace together that is provided to consumers. And they've done the same thing for car buying and some other scenarios as well. So they're going down this marketplace ecosystem combination. All right, so let me wrap it up here. So ecosystems, think about what your businesses next door are. That's the phrase I've been using for the most common ecosystem partners. And then how do you simplify and expedite the partnerships? What APIs do you need to onboard those kinds of businesses? Marketplaces, should you be one? Should you be in one? Should you manage one? What are your goals in the area of a marketplace? And what other API providers would you want to be in there with? And then again, the whole financial arrangements around that. And then platforms, another thought, is this where you want to get to? Is this your ultimate goal for, world domination? And then what's the roadmap to get you there? So these are advanced topics. I titled this presentation, what's next? It's not something that everybody is doing today. So don't worry if you're not doing this just yet, but this may be on your roadmap for an opportunity for where you want to get to. So where do you want to go? So with that, I'm going to wrap it up. As always, I'll just show you the slides at the end. These are the links to the different things that I've written. And you can find in here various things. There's one on this page on ecosystems right in the middle here. And I think the next page has something on marketplaces and platforms down at the bottom here. And then there's another page on industry stuff. And that's it. I am done.
Thank you, Alan. So I have a question for you. You talk about platform ecosystem APIs. So they build it and they will come. Doesn't work?
No, it does not work. Yeah, I've done that discussion several times as well. I think that was in my my strategy presentation. I mean, the whole communication topic is another one that I've written, I think, about, and you need people like me. You need evangelists to get out there from your company and say, we're doing something great here, right? And you should, and this is the advantage to you to do it, right? So if you build the API, technically that's wonderful, but nobody's going to know about it, right? So you need to get somebody out there that is creating the ecosystem, that's driving the success. And we talk in some of the strategy content that I've done for API Days on roles and responsibilities of communication and things like that. So you can find that in some of the other historical sessions I've done.
Also on the culture side, how do you get sponsorship or enable a company to change from product to platform in terms of culture, and how APIs participate in do that?
That's a fantastic question. And one of the businesses I was speaking to asked me about culture, which I was thinking about when the previous speaker was talking. And I wrote an article on changing the culture in an organization, which is the toughest topic. And he said that as well. This is something that is, it needs to be bought into from a high level executive, that if the culture is going to become an API first or a marketplace or whatever it is you want to be, this has to be first recognized as a channel to market, and then the opportunity to implement that in a particular way using APIs. The way you do that is to do what you kind of implied in the question, which is to change from the product that I offer to the focus on what the consumer wants. And so that DBS example that I talked about, they're a bank, right? So they didn't, banks historically talk about, well, I'm a bank. I do accounts, I do loans, these are things I do. If you want one of these, come to me, right? And they would talk all about what they do in those areas. They didn't do that. They focused on what do people do that needs banking, right? Well, they need banking when they move a house and they need a mortgage, or they need banking when they buy a car and they need a loan, right? So that they reversed the thinking, and that's a tough thing to do. You have to get out, and the opportunity is tremendously larger if you do it. But that change in perspective is a tough thing to happen, and so not an easy thing to make done.
One quick question, we just have less than 1 minute, from another Alan, is that what do you think as bots, as consumers of APIs?
What I think is
bots,
what?
Bots, B-O-T-S, bots. Like robots, like a small software bots.
Okay, bots. I hadn't done a lot of thinking about that, so I don't know if I have a good answer on that one. I'm not gonna create one on the fly. So maybe we could, if he wants to connect with me on LinkedIn, we can have a chat, and I'll think more about it before I give a formal answer. Yeah.
Yeah. So Alan, please reach Alan.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Alan.